Section 5, Trailer of Flat Car TOFCs and Container of Flat Cars Rules. The rules of several services provided in this section apply to both interstate and movements of DoD freight track transported by rail carriers and trailers and containers of flat cars. Intermodal occurs in two more different modes, such as rail, truck, barge, sea lift, or are used to move cargo in the origin destination. Intermodal may occur the Ocanas, such as in Alaska, Hawaii. Intermodal moves will subject to the rules of accessory services contained in the MFTRP provided by the guidance of the carrier of the record. The MFTRP 1C will take precedence in the motor carrier and the carrier of the record. The carrier of record need not to the origin carrier, but will carrier submit to the tender for move and appears of the BOL. The rules of accessory services provided herein above apply to the movement of the load trailer containers, as also the movement of the trailers containers prior to the subsequent of the loading movement of the trailers and containers. In the TOFC services, this section will apply containers without chassis moving in the COFC services only with the carriers maintain lift of on-lift facilities of the both origin and destination unless mutually agreeable is made for the lift of on-lift and facilities other than those performing in final hauling services. When ruling accessory services not especially provided in sections of such rules, accessory services named in section 4 general will apply. Rates and plans for service identified below will include the following: with the facilities assisting in the proper handle of the TOFC and COFC shipments, carrier with place the vehicle on the railway car, remove the vehicle from the railway car. Consignors furnishing the container shall not be responsible for the carrier to provide whiles except for the provided the item 595 furnishing chassis of the COF shipments. The following definitions of TOF COFC plants intended for the identification purposes must not be construed in the government provisions for the rates of the charges published in any rail tender of the freight services embraces the inclusive type of services, whether it be by the rail car, perform of the complete transaction and the handling of the freight and vehicles furnished by the railroad, government-owned vehicles furnished by the consignor, the consignor dock platform facility at origin, consignees dock platform and the facility at the destination. Plan 214 embraces the type of services whereby the rail carriers handle the freight and service furnished for the railroad from the carrier's origin ramp location, carrier's destination ramp location, terminal services at either origin destination but not both, but must be performed by the consignees of their agent of their expenses. Part Plan 2.1.5 embraces the type of services whereby the rail carrier handles vehicles in the carrier's original ramp location to carry the destination ramp location. Terminal services at the origin destination must be performed by the consignors and consignees of the air agent at their expense. Plan 3 embraces the type of service whereby the carriers handle the shippers and vehicles of the carrier's origin ramp location of the carrier's destination ramp location. Terminal services at the origin destination must be performed by the consignees of their agent their expenses. The Plan 4 embraces the type of ramp-to-ramp services whether they carry the handle of the vehicles owned by the lease and shippers of the cars as also be owned and leased by the shippers. Plan 5 embraces the type of service involving joint motor and rail motor traffic. A complete service of the vehicles furnished either the motor carrier or the rail carriers perform the complete transaction of handling the freight and the trailers and the consignor's dock platform facility at the origins of the consignees dock platform and facility and destination. Plan 4 1/4 embraces the type of service involving joint motor vehicle with the vehicle being furnished in the motor carrier on the rail carrier. Terminal services either at the origin and destination but not both, but be performed at the consignor and the consignees and their agent at their expense. Plan 5 1.5 embraces the type of services involving motor traffic and vehicles furnished in either the rail carrier or motor carrier. Terminal services at the origin and destination must be performed by the consignees of their agent at their expense. Item 530, the advance charge is subject to the prior arrangement. The carrier shall advance the subsequent collection of the government lawful charges, including for the pier, the wharf, stevedore door services, the customs house of the bond services for the special permit bonds and tolls, fees related required by the state governmental authority of the transportation of the shipment, which because of the size and shipment requires the securing of the size of the movement over the streets of the highways. The charges of the advancing monies is described shall be 0.45 1 blank amount of cash for each such advancement and collection of the government shall be supported document evidence of the charge claimed where actually incurred in advance by the carrier. Collection of the government shall be supported documentary evidence of the charge claimed where actually incurred in advance. Carrier safety ratings and military traffic management control (MTMC) policy is not due to the business of the interstate motor carriers known as the unsatisfactory safety ratings assigned by the Office of Motor Carriers and Safety's (OMCs) of the Department of Transportation. Interstate or motor carriers determined on the unsatisfactory rating will be placed in the non-use status, will remain in the non-use until the safe routing is upgraded to satisfactory. The carrier is responsible for arranging the re-audited OMCS, Office of Motor Carrier Safety, and Department of Transportation notifying the military traffic management commands of the upgrading of the safety rating of the satisfactory. Upon verification of the satisfactory rating of the carrier's no-use status will be lifted to the MTMC custom and the bond freight charges incurred with the carrier of the custom and bound of clearance of the advance of the carrier's subsequent collection of the government subject to the provisions of the item 530 advance charges. Shipments since designated held in the carrier's possession of the custom and the bond of clearance may be also subject to detention, storage, or as named in item 560 detention of the vehicles, item 690 storage of the vehicles respectively for the purpose of applying storage vehicle rules and charges in the connection of the shipment and notification of the carrier's department collector of the customs of the shipment and is available for the customs inspection with constituting the tender of shipment of delivery, detention of the vehicles of DTB. See notes 1 and 3. One railroad owned and leased trailer container is delayed for loading, unloading at the place of the business. Consignee is other designated location under the door-to-door service plan or the trailer containing the delay to the ramp on waiting for the pickup of the consignee, the loading, unloading, other door-to-door service plan for the following apply. Notification will be sent during the normal business hours of the consignor and the consignee under the door-to-door service plan of the carrier will upon arrival at place of loading and upon unloading notify the party of the possession of the freight to be loaded on the party who is to receive the freight of the unloaded trailer is waiting. When under the door-to-door service plan, the carrier will furnish the notification of the consignees of the trailer is available for pickup of the carrier's ramps. Free time for their experience of the paragraph 1D, the 48 hours free time allowed for per vehicle. C noted that free time will be computed the first 1159 2300 hours and 2359 following the notification of the vehicles available for loading, unloading, and the pickup. That is in the case of the Saturday, Sunday, and holidays will be excluded. Computing the time and charge door service computation shall be ceased. The consignor notifies the railroad the vehicle with loaded to the movement of the place business, and the consignee notifies the railroad of the vehicle unloaded ready for the management from the place of the business. Ramp to ramp computation of the time shall cease. The empty vehicle is delivered to the carrier. Loaded vehicle with billing instruction is delivered to the carrier. The forward instruction are given to the carrier. The proper billing instruction. Detention charges the railroad owner the leased trailer and the container is detained to the allowable freeable time of the following charges and shall be made for each of the first four 24 hours period. Therefore, expiration of the free time DTB and the number of sales or number per vehicle dollars per vehicle for each next 2 to 24-hour periods. The fraction thereof the expiration of the free time of the DTB is in basic the cash per vehicle for a succeeding 24-hour period of the fraction over after the expiration of the time of the DTB. The blank amount of cash per vehicle. The carrier performs the destination terminal services. The carrier's tractors or employees ran of the vehicles of the business consignees. The designated location delay and detention of the carrier's vehicles will be subject to the following. 4 hours free time for allowed for the loading and unloading vehicles. Computation time is made at the normal business shipping at the designated place or unloading, except for the carrier representative is permitted to work beyond the period as the work shall be included within the allowed free time. Loading and unloading is not completed at the end of the business remaining for the free time. Resume the beginning of the next work when the work is the next day actually began. The carrier representative, if earlier loading, unloading interrupted normal non-working periods during the business total time to exceed 1 of the hour excluded for the computation rules. When loading and unloading and is delayed beyond the allowable free time, a charge of the DTB numbers per hour fraction of there will be assessed to delayed and allowable free time until the release of the cosigner and cosignee's dual transaction vehicle unloaded, reloaded. Then each transaction will be treated independently of the other. Free time for the loading shall begin with the free time unloading and the elapsed striking provisions, if applicable. The impossible load to unload and receive trailers containers from the makeable available for the railroad because of the strike inference at the point of whether loading and unloading is to be accomplished for the following apply. The period from the first 11:59 p.m. 23:01 minute to 2400 hours. Such an interference ends until the 11:59 p.m. The interference successes exclude the computation charge provided by the written claim submitted to the railroad in 30 days, and with the interference cease. Detention before the after period interference with the consolidated into one period of detention. Railroad-owned leased trailers may be removed from the premises. Rail carriers, either origin destination railroad cars, receive the signed cosigner and cosignee as it may be because of the authorized agent after the expiration of the time provided by the detention. Charges will be begins to the installation incurring the such charges from the power track bill, e-bill, or the submission of the charges for the pre-lodging and storage in the vehicle. Detention free time during demurrage. Railroad on lease flat cars containing load and empty vehicles based on the consignor or cosignee's failure to load and unload with computation in accordance to the provisions provided in Section 3 of the Rules of Publication. The demurrage charges the additional applicable vehicle for the detention charges notification. Note 1. Certain government installations have specific agreements for storing, relocating carrier empty for the loading and unloading and detention charges, where such arrangements are in effect, they will be superseded by the provisions of the rule. When a number of railroad-owned loaded vehicles as shown below are made available, carrier destination of one consignee of the one day of the free time compliance with the provided, except for when the consignee is unable to unload the vehicle, may be available for the free time provided by the paragraph 1, and the total free time shall begin with the first 11:59 p.m. After the notification as shown below, excluding the Saturday and Sunday holidays. Number of the vehicles free time per vehicle: 1 through 16 vehicles, 48 hours; 17 to 24, 72 hours; 25 to 32, 96 hours; 33 and over, 120 hours. Because of the disability, all the negligence of the part of the carrier, because of the weather conditions resulting from the vehicle origination of the same origin, moving via the same route and cosign in the same destination, or bunch after arriving at the destination, and the data notification availability for the vehicles will confirm. After consigning the notified carrier of its agent's availability of the vehicles, excessively daily shipment of the consignment shall be allowed in such free time as he would be entitled to had and vehicles not be bunched. When any vehicle released to the expiration free time of the free time, the next vehicle computed in the first 11:59 following such release. Note all made unless claims presented by the writing of the railroad Thursday days of the exclusive Saturday Sunday holidays after the date of the billing and detention is rendered. The must be supported in the statement showing the point of shipment of each of the vehicle involved with the bunching claim. No detention charges assessed for the holding and the unloading cannot be accomplished due to the one actions of the God, the public enemy, the authority of the law, the existence of violence, and such possible disturbances may be intended to create reasonable apprehension of the danger, person, or property. Dimensions of the cubical capabilities of the trailer and containers. For the types of trailers and containers included dimension, cubicle capacity, the official intermodule equipment registrator, the OIER, the tariff of ICC, and OIER 6037, and the distributed the intermodule publishing limited Ltd. Intermodule shipments IMS. The following intermodal shipment of the motor service was required provided an incident in the rail line, which will be subject to the additional charges as shown below. The tracked vehicle's equipment weight less than the 50 pounds. IMS the number of the blank each. The tracked vehicle's equipment of the weighing of the 50,000 pounds or more. The IMS blanket down at dollars each. The trailer's container with the chassis. The IMS 3 is blank $1 amount each. The containers and mill vans without chassis. The IMS 4 each. A blank amount set for a certain dollar. With the carrier and the consignor, the request of the furnish of the vehicles through no fault of the carriers and the consignor controls the load of vehicles. The carrier entitled to the charge provided by the ITM 720. The vehicles furnished but not used when the consignors cause delay of a courier equipment, and the courier will be entitled to the charges provided in item 500. and the detention of the vehicles. Neither the application seals or the lack of the government item, the sealing of the vehicles, nor notion of the billing of the landing desired delivery date of the required delivery date (RDD) and shall be permitted in the request of exclusive use of expedited services vehicles sealed either by shippers and carriers. The convenience shall be constructed requiring exclusive and carrier removal of seals and locks of added other freight. Carriers will provide exclusive use of the vehicle services to DoD shippers upon request, subject to the following definition conditions without any additional charge. The exclusive use of the service between the vehicle furnished and the devoted accessibility transportation of the shipments without breaking the seals of the lock, without the transfer of lading or carrier's convenience conditions. The shipper will exclusively use the service of a noting exclusive use of the vehicles requested in the government bill landing. In addition to the following endorsement will be noted for the billing of landing completed by the carrier at the agent at destination. I certify to use the vehicle services furnished from origin to and the destination signature of the carrier's agent. In the event of the lock and seal removed from the vehicle's carrier, immediately relock and reseal the vehicle, and noted that the company ink papers with not new lock of the seal reasonable for removal. Original lock seal. No freight will be added in the vehicle except for the instruction of the cosigner and the cosignees. The furnishing chassis of the COF shipments of the FCS. The shipments must be contained under the tender of the applying of the carrier's ramp origin of the carrier's ramp. The designation of carriers not furnishing chassis of the suitable equipment to the effective pickup and delivery of the containers, except as follows: at the request of the cosigning consigner, the agent's carriers performing origin and destination line haul over services may be chassis suitable equitable available in stations where carriers maintain the facility to handle the CFCA charges of FCS1 and blanket number per shipment. Specifically, may otherwise chassis and other suitable equipment furnished may be returned to the point of receipt. The carrier has received the furnishing of the vehicle's equipment seen to the note of the carrier, and the furnishing of the vehicle is equipped except for the added item. The 510 weighted allowance is necessary to sell safely transported the freight with the shipper as requested transportation. If the carrier is furnished with the container, more equipment exceeded the specification necessary to safely transport the freight, and shall be furnished in the carrier's convenience without additional cost of the government. The equipment furnished and loading of the may be rejected in shipper, and if upon inspection might such equipment consider for the required transportation rejected equipment is not be subject for the vehicle furnished and not to be used. Item 720 of the publication. Handling freight in the position immediately adjacent with the vehicle's HHB, and when the request of the cosigner or the consignee carrier operation conditions, and carriers will move the shipment shipments of the form the position beyond the immediately adjacent loading and unloading positions of vehicles shall consider immediately adjacent loading and unloading position was separated. There is only an intervening sidewalk and a walkway. The service is provided by the HHB, numbers per hours per pound per 100 pounds, subject to the minimum charge of the HHB 2 per shipment and the maximum charge of the HHB 3 per shipment. When shipments are according to the split pickup, the split delivery and stop in the transit, completing the load and partially unloading the charges will apply to separately whether the service is performed. No applicable only under the TOFC plants where a capable carrier provides pickup and delivery services. Loading and unloading carriers URSC, except for otherwise provided herein the rates and the carrier tenders applicable to loading and unloading is formed, and the consignees the carrier is performed loading and unloading the services unless the consignee is provided a charge of URSC per 100 weight set object to the minimum charge of the URSC to the per shipment. Charges will be used in actual weight handling. Consigners requesting the loading and unloading the service which will be provided and certifying the service was performed. Pickup and delivery, including the line haul rates, line haul rates for the charges named in the carrier's tender TOFC and COFC, provided that the door-to-door service shall include the pickup of the origin, delivery, and destination. Additional pickups, delivery at the origin and transit destination may be subject to the additional carrier charges, and split pickup of delivery item to stop it off in the transit. Loading and unloading TOFC, COFC shipments are performed, and the consignee is accepted for the drop trailers the carrier delivers. May be assistant cosigning of the cosigning upon the request. Such assistance include not necessarily limited to the counting of the articles being loaded being loaded or unloaded. If loading and unloading is requested, cosigner's consignee is provided by the carrier, subject to the provisions of Item 610, and loading and unloading by the carrier. Time of the pickup and delivery shall be performed carrying the door in normal business hours, but cosigner and consignee is set provided on Item 64, 640, the pickup and delivery on Saturdays, Sundays, holidays, and normal business days before the normal business hours. 640 business delivery days, Saturday, Sunday, holidays, and normal business days before or after normal business hours. When the cosigner and consignees request to pick up a delivery such as service on the Saturday, Sunday, or holidays on other business days, but normal business hours, carrier will provide such services of subject to discharge. Normal business days, pick up the delivery service shall be before and after the normal business hours of the cosigner and consignee shall be performed at the charge of the PB1 and blank amount of dollars per hour for the fraction for each driver furnished. Saturday pickup and delivery services shall be performed at the charge of the PUD 2 per hour. The fraction thereof that each driver furnishes subject to the minimum charge of the PUD 3 of the per driver furnished. Sunday and holidays pickup and delivery shall be performed at the charge of PUD 4 and the per hour the fraction for thereof each delivery furnished and subject to the minimum charge of the PUD $5 per day of the furnished. Computation of the time will be computed at all time that arrives in the pickup, delivery, and facility reports. The responsibility of representing the cosigner and consignee of the shipment is available for loading and unloading. The time the pickup delivery is completed with the driver is released to the cosigner and consignee. Request of the pickup of the normal business hours during and after the business hours on Saturday, Sunday, and holidays must be noted by the cosigner or the consignee on the billing of the land and clearing, specifically on see Item 290, the definitions of holidays. Pickup and delivery of the peers and waivers of the lawful charges, including the carrier, the peers and waivers of the pickup and delivery that should be advanced to the carrier's subjection of collection of the government in accordance with Item 530, advancing charges prearranged scheduling of the vehicle arrival of loading and unloading. Upon reasonable request of the cosigner, consignee designated them subject to the provision contained with this area with additional charge pre-arranged scheduled arrival of the vehicles from unloading and unloading. See subject 560 of the detention of the vehicles. Request of the pre-arranged scheduling may be oral, written pre-arranged schedule of the arrival of vehicles and loading and unloading may be by one-time continuous as mutual agreement of all parties. Continuous pre-arranged scheduling agreements may be terminated at any part of the agreement not less than 24 hours notice prior to the effective date of the transaction. The schedule of the time arrival for unloading should be prior to this time. The storage charges being arrived and arrival of the unloading is scheduled, and storage charges will be assessed and provided in Item 690, storage of the vehicles. If carrier vehicles are prior to the schedule of the time shall begin with the schedule of time actuals. Unloading and unloading comments which is earlier. Note 1. Term vehicle includes trailers as dropped off, spotted, and unloading tractor trailer combinations. The term does not apply to the TOFC shipments requiring the pre-lodge services described in Item 655 herein. Pre-lodging PRL, where the pre-lodging shipping documents is required to the cosigning of the TOFC and COFC shipments. The following definition will apply. Pre-lodging is a hand delivering ship documents to the delivery carrier 24 hours more prior to the delivery of the shipments in the location designated by the cosigning. The shipments documented and contained in the envelope marked on the permanent number of the date of the time of the delivery carrier dates. When the delivery consolidated multiple shipments delivery, all will require that pre-lodging cosign the same cosign of the same date. Each shipment and more than shipment is the subject of different DoD tenders within the MTMC deployment supply support command. The delivering carrier should be the lowest pre-lodged charges available under this item and any other individual terms applicable to the individual shipments. Consolidated delivery power track e-bill submitted by the consigning of the payment of the pre-lodged charges of the RS reference as into the BOL numbers that carriers probably numbers the permit number and the pre-lodged services provided charges will, when required, the consignee the charge of pre-lodging shall be PRL at the blanket dollars of delivery. Number of dollars per delivery vehicle. See Item 700, submission of the charge pre-lodging storage and vehicles detention herein. Delivery of the RCL. The DoD shipment moving under the TOFC COFC plan, including the carriers, the delivery tending to the delivery during the business hours. The co-signing throughout no fault of the carrier. The delivery cannot be accomplished. No further tender will be accepted upon request. Carrier immediately notify the consignee the telephone if practicable. The shipment handling in the range of the multi-agreeable redelivery date. The vehicle vehicle shall be held on a constructive placement from the time to time tender of the delivery is finally accomplished. The charge of the recovery shall be the RCL blanket number of dollars per vehicle shipment. The charges in addition with all other transportation charges, the detention demurrage, the charges occurred by the vehicle withheld by the constructive placement, and if after and notified by the shipment on hand, the consigning elects the pickup of the shipment. No delivery charges will apply. C700 submission of the charges pre-lodging storage on the vehicle detention herein. The relocation of the vehicle applies on only the trailers dropped in the carrier and unloading and unloading. The carriers will provide relocation of vehicle trailers, bodies with more of the vehicle, the platform door, the shipping room upon the request of the co-signer and the co-signee. The charge of the RLS number of dollars will be assessed and carried. Each relocation must be supported in the co-signer and co-signee's certification bill of landing. The certification was requested. Certain government installations have specific agreements to the storing and relocation of the carrier, the loading and unloading, the detention charges, which such arrangements in effect with the superseded provisions of this rule. The rules of the movement of the pallets, the RMPs, the inline haul rates of the carrier tenders applying to TOFC, COFC shipments may be included. The return of the movement of the pallet subject to the following provisions: 1 of the trailer load of the pallets of the return of the item 10 of the more inbound palletized bounded trailers. Inbounded loaded trailers must be co-signed. The same original return must be consigned with the co-signers. Inbound unloaded movements for return of the movement pallets of the VA reverse route of the inbound movement of co-signing must unload inbound loaded and trailer reload the returning shipments of the pallet same trailer the free time loaded in the section connection of the inbound trailer upon the expiration of the free time detention rules charges apply to the until the trailer is tendered into the carrier of the shipment. Under the plans of the co-signer is required to perform the services of the carrier ramp of the collection and the inbound of the same service must be provided in the connection of the return of the movement of the pallet. Stop off and transit partially unloaded will not be permitted. The return of the pallet movement of the shipment must be certified in the bill of landing. Number of the pallets being returned and must also show the number of the trailers, date of the date of shipment, number of the pallets contained in each of the inbound loaded trailers. Such inbound trailers must have the recent received and co-signer note not more than 80 days prior to the date of billing and landing covering in the return pallets. The term pallet includes the pallet platform sides, platform risers, runners, and skids and fillers and separators, shrouds, covers, deck boards, metal braces, collapsible shipping bins, racks, and shipping devices, used ironwood or ironwood combined. Carriers wishing to provide the return of the pipe of pallets provision to the item is complete with the Section 5.2 the DoD tendering entering the RMP of the service for column. The filling of those shall be in the immediate right of the charge of the column of the zero sealing of the vehicles, except for the shipments within which the BOL is noted exclusive use of the vehicle requested the government in the following manner: do not break the seal except for the case of the emergency upon the prior authority of the consignor and the co-signee is found broken. If the emergency reason of any applies to the carrier seal, as soon as possible immediately notify the co-signer and co-signee. The application seals of the recording seal numbers of the block provided by the BOL will not in itself require the exclusive use of the vehicle well, and a seal lock is used in the fixed shipment of the flatbed lowboy. Other open point equipment exclusively used will not accorded the shipment unless the BOL is anointed with the paragraph 1. The BOL is not anointed with the seats. The locks may be removed at the carrier option. The vehicle sealed by the shipper and carrier. The carrier convenience may not be constructed by the requiring exclusive expedited services. Split pickup and delivery. When the request of the co-signee carrier will pick up the delivery articles, signal ship, and at the more than a place with the co-signer the origin, destination, cities, village, at the more than the location of the confines, the same shipping and the receiving installation charge. Facilities, the charges of each of the pickup delivery, excluding the initial pickup and the final delivery, shall be SPU1. Simply a delivery requested co-signing the arrival shipments and destination will be in co-signing C item submission of the charges pre-lodging storage and the vehicles detention storage of the vehicles, the SVS, the C note, item 690. The vehicles held by the delivery and other reasons directly attributed to the co-signer owners, and they stored and held in the premises for railroad co-signing owners shall be allowed 48 hours free time. The destination immediately stopped after off point at when applicable to remove the vehicle. The railroad permits the order vehicle delivered vehicles have been permitted in origin of the outbound movement within the billing instruction allowed 48 hours free time to the tender the vehicles for shipment. 3. The free time will compute at the first 11:59 p.m. following the notification of the vehicle available in the computing free time. Saturday, Sunday, holidays, items of the holidays will item 290. The holidays will be excluded after the expiration time of the charge of the SVS. Blank numbers per vehicle will be assessed for the subsequent 24 hours and the fraction, including the Saturday, Sunday, and the unit of the unit vehicles is either railroad premises ordered, delivered, intended for the shipment, and the charges will not apply with the detention charges that are contained in the item 560 detention of vehicles as being assessed. See item 700, submission of the charges for the pre-lodging storage and vehicles detention. Submission of the charges pre-lodging storage of the vehicles detention. The charges of the vehicle detention at 560 and 655. Delivery of the item 660. Storage of the vehicle 690. The chargeable operation, allotment and assignment, designation, allotment and designation of the military department and government agency which has jurisdiction over all local activity. The charges actually occurred. The carriers will submit the power e-track of the charges and the transportation officers of the local activity involved. Tendering the multi-vehicles, except for the delay of the movement of the ramps is caused by the carrier natural occurrence of all the vehicles. Multi-vehicle shipment must be delivered in carrier ramps for the 48 hours at the first 11:59. Tender of the vehicles of the carrier ramps. The balance from the multi-shipment and tender of the carrier ramp. The expiration 48 hours. The charge will be same as the multiple vehicle has been tendered for 48 hours, subject to the additional charge that can be for each 24 hours. The 24-hour period is assessed for the 48 hours for the transport expiring prior to the tender of the final vehicles at the carriers ramps. The commuting free time Saturday, Sunday, and holidays, excluding the trailer interchange of the service inspection. Trailer interchange service inspection must exclude between the carriers and co-signers. Co-signing at authorized time and the trailer accepted for the carrier ramp at the location of the intermediate stop-off point, transit final destination, and form furnished by the carrier covering the utilization of the trailers and consigning the co-signer of the agency. The vehicles furnished and not to be used by the VFN with the characters upon the shipment request of furnishing a vehicle loading in the TOFC shipment should there be no fault of the carrier. Shipment of the carriers loading of the vehicles the carrier will entail into the charge of the VFN. Number 1, number per highway each mile furnished and not used in each of the point of the dispatch of the scheduled loading point of the transportation charges applicable to scheduled loading point of the schedule and destination which is lower. If the mile age of the VFN produces low charge, will be identifying the point of the dispatch applicable to SPLC code number. The lieu of charges in paragraph 1 carry the most may establish a flat charge VFN for each of the vehicle furnished and not used. And if carriers of the elects the flat charge will not be completed, the charges will not apply to the vehicle rejected for the shipper under the provisions of item 596 of the furnishing the vehicle's equipment notification cancellation. The canceled carriers prior to the actual dispatch of the vehicles from the carrier terminals. Claim for the collection of the charges of the items supported for the shipper certification cancellation when the pickup is inbound and loaded trailer container of the scheduled outbound loading and the same installation shipments loading of the vehicles not be charged when they assessed under the paragraph 1 and 2. Section 6, Special Rules, Part A, the rules governing movement of the special trains and government personnel accompanying the free shipments.